Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com, that's ARAEL.
From the future, by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today at Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. And, well, there's so much going on today, and just it seems like it's a lot of a lot of things happening on the planet. And I have had a lot of concerns, a lot of people contacting me, and a lot of people have been working to try to help out and to be a part of, support of everything that's going on around the world. And as, humans were trying to stick together despite all challenges and odds, and keeping in mind the highest potential for humanity. Now, recently I had someone say to me that, it would be good if we just stuck to the positive stuff and, not really opened up to some of the information. Feel like we're talking about negative things and that it's hopeless and I don't feel that we go that way, but I think we can't really if we can't talk about things, then, we can go, there are people that provide, meditations that just focus on the positive, and for some of you that feel that way, then I understand. But I'm not going to change my format and the way that I do things to accommodate those that feel that, we go in a little too deep to certain issues and want to bring things to the surface and discuss them. And also, that these beings are here and they're monitoring and looking at stuff, and you don't do that with a blind eye. You do it with assessing, realizing, and then clearing. So trying to help and show those that are listening that you look beyond the human souls and see what's behind it. If there's anything that you can get out of this show, I hope that you get that, is that we are, eternal beings, multiple incarnations, both here on the planet and sometimes off planet. And so we have a divine connection to Source. So regardless of everything around us, we will still exist. And I don't care what anyone else says if they say that, you're getting abducted and you can lose your soul and all this other stuff. I don't agree with it. And I mean, everyone has their opinion. But for me, it's from what I understand and what I've seen in my history and have viewed of the way that things go in the other dimensional space, we are immortal beings. We are eternal beings, I'll say it like that. And so nothing to fear. So as we talk about these different issues, and it sounds a little foreboding or hopeless, it's really not, because in the end, we're working towards the highest potential for humanity. And even if that means that certain energies need to be brought back to their proper place, that's where they go. It's not a big deal. This has been happening before humans existed. So we can just, accept it, appreciate it, realize it, understand it, and let's all grow together, rather than people feeling disjointed, disconnected, and, pointing the fingers of this one's good, this one's bad. Everyone's at a different place. So we're going to allow that to happen as well. So anyhow, I had a brief conversation with Shiva. Very brief. I had a vision where I saw him, and often he comes and talks to me. But sharing that with you, and then related to some of the things that's going on in the world today. We do not have a transmission from Rodan this week, but we do have two from Baylord. And that might explain why. And of course we have Meetis this week. And Andronicus. He's going to reveal something I thought was quite fascinating. So as we continue to look and grow and learn, we're just going to move ahead in the process. And also, I just want to remind everyone that I have a special guest on today. Her name is Laura. She is the one that was inspired or assisted me in helping to see through what's going on in the parallels with the Pix and Baylord, and she is the one that they refer to as Picayune. And Laura's going to be on. But Laura is someone that I've done sessions with, and some really interesting things have come up. But I've done sessions for many people, and I still am available for sessions. And as I mentioned when I was on vacation, if there was someone that was trying to reach me, needed to get through, I kind of had to shut everything down for a couple of weeks just so I could collect my thoughts and clear my mind a bit. From the past couple of years, I've been pretty intense for not just me, but for the many others that have come to me. So I hope that you understand. And but I am available for sessions for people that are looking to gain insight in different areas of their lives, remove blocks and obstacles, observing decision making, observing past lives to clear karma and personal blocks and understanding relationships and connections to others, as well as spiritual growth. And also, if you need assistance with anything related to my labs and ETs, abductions, and any type of attachments or anything like that you feel that you need some assistance with, I am available and can be contacted through my website at www.readingsbyariel.com. That's ARAEL.com. And also, we are, I do this on my own time. It spends quite a few hours to spend time with the transmissions. I do it for the universe, but if someone feels in their heart that they want to help to assist, and to assist with the work that I'm doing, you can also send donations that way through my website. I am spending time to put together the book, the collection of the Andronicus transmissions, and probably will need to have some other people help me, and we'll need to support that too. So if you find it in your heart you want to help out, I appreciate it very much. And also to remember to support the radio station. Without this network, we can't do any of this. So we want to thank Will Spirit Radio and thank JP. So hello, JP.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm here.
Okay, so we got some fun music and we got some serious topics, and then we have a beautiful, beautiful message from Meetis today. Really, I brought tears to my eyes. I was very happy to hear it, and you'll see why when we get there.
Oh, that's lovely. I picked up my guitar earlier and thought, you know what? I need to do some practice. So I practiced a few scales. I never practice. I don't practice at all, and it's like terrible. But today I actually practiced my scales. So maybe Meetis has got a especially complex tune for me today. Who knows?
Yeah.
It happens in the moment. I don't plan it, and I received these earlier on, but I'm busy. I don't read these things. Anyway, we've said all this. Where should we go first?
Okay, so let's see. I believe, so I'm feeling like I want to do the message that I got from Shiva, which brought me into so many other issues.
That's the one that I've got on my that's the one I've got on my screen here. So there we go, perfectly. Okay, great. And presumably you want me to call you you want me to read Shiva?
Elena.
Yeah.
The name is Elena.
Elena, thank you.
Yeah, okay. I was in a deep meditation when I saw a path of straw or corn husks placed gently in front of me, creating a path. I thought, this felt similar and looked similar to a crop circle. and the distinctive path was bordered by a husk-like rope on either side. As I walked my path, I noticed to the left that Shiva had appeared and walked with me.
Elena, you have done a very good job in clearing much on the planet. But you have forgotten about someone. You forgot about Clovis.
I don't remember Clovis. Who is he?
He is the beast with cloven hooves. He walks throughout the earth causing destruction. Learn about him and then I will help you find him.
Thank you, Shiva. And then he disappeared and the path opened to a clearing and the vision was over. I interpreted the rope separation to show that he was walking outside of the timeline and had come to visit me. I wish it had been for a happier reason than what I was about to encounter. The place, the corn or straw on the ground all meant something as well as the clearing. Clovis, a French king, possibly the cause of problems in France. I know that he was identified as the founder of the French people, but as I looked deeper, it was more to it. I put my head down. I was too late. The reactors in France had already been up and radiation went into the air. It wasn't my fault, but I didn't know. I'm sure, as others did, I felt both anger and remorse because of those many consenting to this earth's destruction. It is methodically happening. Those in power looking the other way and devising a plan B for underground bunkers or off-world outposts. The average human waiting for a radiation slow death or by fire or water, whatever they wish to dish out. We were supposed to wait for our own fiery grave or drown in an endless flood. This is not from Source, by the way. Source doesn't operate this way. I'm positive about that. I know that for many years we have been told that God destroyed the earth by water. I'm beginning to question what type of God did that. Okay, so the Bible says it, but clearly the agenda of the revelations. It is an agenda, isn't it? I ask that as well. Do so many humans have to die to fulfill another agenda? And whose agenda is it anyhow? A savior agenda, possibly? Not that it's actually a savior, but a way to have an excuse to do something on the planet. Some may be angry at me now. I do care, but I don't care. I just want the truth of it. I already know that the so-called Archangel, Michael, was corrupt and downright cruel and vengeful. For 150 million years he's been following me to make my experiences miserable or to cause all my missions with Source to fail. What type of purpose is that, I ask? Anyhow, as I was searching for Clovis, I found something else. It was corn. Like rotting corn coming from a tube and dropping into the dirt. My stomach turned as I watched it. I asked, "Reveal to me what this is." And then I saw a spacecraft underground, circular, and the yellow-orange lights emanated from above. It was a strange-shaped circular craft, but not with multi-windows on top. The beings resembled Greys, but they were not. In fact, that they were Dracos, making themselves look like Greys. I watched how they corrupted the first food of humanity, corn. I also thought about how all the maize or corn goddess were not the original but hijacked and replaced with the Dracos. This was all beginning to make sense. The Dracos took over the primary food source of humanity very far back in time. This is the reason why I could never have intelligent conversations with the maize queens, even though I knew them at one time. They were simple and loving and without malice, and they were here primarily to help humanity, very benevolent. Not these ones. They were hostile and not caring about the genetically altered food source of today. These were my arguments with them. I went to investigate and discovered that they, the Dracos, have had control over humans from the beginning through the food source of corn, then other grains. I know my body never reacted well. to any of it. And I also thought of the corn on the cob that someone recently gave me and the sinking feeling I had when I ate it. I asked Shiva to assist me, and he did. He came down and took all the Dracos from that specific location where they were inserting information, or, as we understand, the precursors of the genetically altered food source. The location is forever destroyed. Don't look for it. It is gone. All day I wasn't right after seeing this. I can't explain to you what I felt. Nausea, betrayal, and anger that rose up inside of me. It felt we were so duped, and no one ever saw it until I began to surface in a very real way, with humans joining in and doing the same as they processed our grains and added more genetics.
Okay, we're back. Now, where were we? I
was ranting and raving about the things that are happening on the planet, and someone didn't like it.
I felt we were so duped and no one ever saw it.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see,
all day I wasn't right after seeing.
Duped in it. Yep. No one ever saw it until it began to surface, and it was very real. When humans joining in and doing essentially what I was saying is that humans started to realize that, I think humans started to genetically splice these grains or to change and alter these grains. But it was originally being done already by the Dracos. And so then I started to look at the radioactive energy that was coming off of, and then I started thinking Dionysus might be behind the reactors, and I looked in the core, and sure enough, he was there, and I was like, well, what is his problem? And it was hard for me to imagine, since nothing goes beyond, he's just so self-absorbed, or whatever his issue is, and he keeps on doing these things to the planet, and I called him the fire monster. And he thinks everyone's, so I discovered that he once ruled the galaxy posing as Apollo. Now I realize who I was speaking to a few years ago, and I knew it was not the same one as the true Apollo, which is actually Rodan, but this is the one that they call Apollyon. I think they talked about him well in prophecy. I knew that the real Apollo was Rodan, and as usual, the counterfeits step in, and then they have an agenda. And their agenda is to destroy all those who held up the planets in the solar system and make everything collapse, or to bring everyone into a different mindset. And because the Dark Ones are typically not happy, and they will not be happy, and they're gonna make everyone, misery loves company. We all know that. So then I started looking in the floods in Texas. Of course I looked. All of the soul suffering and the cause could be agendas, plans to subdue by the cabal. I looked deeper. I saw death, a being of death, a man who had black around his eyes like the someone from the Day of the Dead. And then I saw a book that was used for spell work from the ancient book of the black arts. And then I saw a magician, a black magician moving in and out of time, space, dimensions. I thought, who was this man? I could not see him, but I will find him. And then I saw all that stemmed from the black arts practitioners, and it brought me to Louisiana. And I was looking for the power, the making of spells, the voodoo magic, and all the things that are dark, and how they open up portals and bringing in entities of darkness. And then it brought me over to Texas, where I saw a jinn, a very large jinn, who was furious that someone had held him in a prison. So I set him free and told him not to return. And then I found a black arts practitioner opening up portals in Texas and bringing in things that they didn't know what they were doing. Some people think my work is magic, but I don't practice any of the black arts. All of this, my abilities came to me as a child. It was not brought in by pulled in by any desire that I had. I would have easily have allowed someone, I would have rathered someone else had this ability than myself. It's not fun to see things that you don't actually want to see. But there are those that desire to have insights for greed, for control, for manipulating people, for deception. And I don't have time for any of that either. So what I was thinking is that we need to change. I said it is true that the corporations and the governments are behind many things, but they would not be able to do so if we were protected by our higher consciousness. And this is not a judgment on anyone. It just is a reflection of that we're not quite there where we should be, and we're not all there able to stand. We need to stand together in a stronger way. We need to close these portals that open up, and because they create chaos, and then it's very hard to neutralize them. We can all rise above all of this. No one should determine our future but ourselves. We are free and liberated, and now we need to continue to reach out to all of those around us who are suffering. Let's join together in one mind to send healing and love to all of those around the world. Let's send healing to those who are suffering from the floods and the nuclear reactors in France, the fires in the West Coast, the floods in Texas. Let's send healing to the earth that's also been affected by all of this. And I just want to have a moment of silence if everyone can just join me in this. So just sending healing to all those places right now. Sending out love, harmony, peace, and a natural balance to the earth. And let's support all of the children of the earth, those that are struggling, suffering, and have health issues, those that have turmoil, pain, sorrow. Let's lift everyone up right now. And let's unify around the world and in peace, in good health, harmony, healthy food, and get our planet back. Okay. Thank you for that. And all right, JP, we're ready to.
Let's take a breath, eh?
I know.
It's been really intense in the last couple of weeks as well. You know, it's like really serious and intense. It's hard to get a bit of lightness into things.
I agree.
All the fires. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's very elemental as well, like you were saying, you know, floods, fires, winds. There's East Coast winds coming up, you know, about the Irma thing.
Yeah, and so, someone else told me about Irma, and I said, you know, I'm not leaving. I live right by the water, and I also live near a nuclear reactor. If they want to take me out, they're going to take me out. I'm not going anywhere. You know, I'm here holding the space as well as others are. I know Patty Broussard lives she lives on the other side of Massachusetts. And, whether people agree with her or not, I don't really care. I mean, at this point, we need to get past everything and people's differences or whatever, and we need to there's a bigger issue here. And whatever is, I don't think it's destined that the East Coast should be wiped out. I don't see that as a destiny for our future. So, but I see that there are certain ones that feel that it's necessary because maybe they want, the primary government to be in Georgia or they have some other place maybe they just, want to neutralize the U.S. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on, but, I don't think it's natural, to be honest with you. I don't think some of this stuff's natural, but I'm not saying, I don't know exactly who it is. And if I did, I wouldn't say it publicly. It's not going to help anyone. other than we just need to be out of a higher consciousness and gain control of what's happening. But yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and I will stay here until things normalize. That's it.
Have you got a boat?
Nope.
Just kidding.
Nope.
All right.
I got a car. No, it's, you know what I mean? It's, I have, you know, it's, I don't live in fear, and unless the universe tells me to go somewhere, I'm not going.
You may be invited somewhere. I'd accept all invitations.
It's gonna be fine, JP. It's gonna be perfectly fine.
Last time somebody said that to me, I ended up being seasick for 5 hours in the bottom of a boat, but that's another story.
Okay.
It'll be fun!
All right.
No, it's not. It's a terrible weather day. No, come on.
No, I've been seasick before. That is not a fun thing. Supposedly, yeah, just don't, like, you know, be in the boat backwards. Always look at the horizon. Don't look down. And don't get drunk.
Yeah, don't smell the diesel. That was my thing.
That would do it too, yeah.
It was the diesel that made me feel ill. Anyway. Meanwhile, hang on.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Shall we?
All right.
Where should we go now?
Baylord 4. We have 2 Baylords, so we're going to read through this.
Okay. Hang on, I'm looking for that little... There we go. Oh, I deleted it. Yeah.
I start.
Yeah.
Baylord, I had another discussion with Picayune, who was surrounded by fires in California. She knew there was something else going on. We looked further to see where she was. That brought us to the 3rd parallel. I observed what happened to be an incinerator, and there were the Pics being tortured in the incinerator, being held as prisoners. But because the Pics are a type of immortals, the fire could not consume them there. It reminded me a lot of the story from the book of Daniel of the Bible, where Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Hebrew men who were thrown into the fiery furnace by King Nebuchadnezzar, who was the king of Babylon at the time. Leonard Crumb was making an effort to destroy the Pics, but failed in his attempts. In my vision, I called forth Baylord for assistance to remove Leonard Crumb and free the Pics. Baylord entered and removed Leonard Crumb, and the injured Pics were once again brought back to the 5th parallel for healing. Then I saw that the nuclear power plants in France and Belgium were interfered with. And so this is when I bring up again about what happened with, I saw Dionysus being in control of it. Okay. Hey, Lord.
All right. Didn't you say my first suspicion? Oh, you already said that.
Leonard Crumb is topside.
Leonard Crumb is topside. All right. So, within the core of those plants, my cue is within the core of those plants I saw Leonard Crumb. No?
Go down further.
All right. Go down. All right. Yeah. I right. Okay. Sorry. Start again. Leonard Crumb is topside now, fully emerged into your reality, as opposed to alternate space, and it will be stopped.
What about the fires in the western part of the U.S.? I know humans are contributing to this, but are they under the influence of Leonard Crumb Dionysus?
Yes, he burns with a vengeance. His fire cannot be quenched. I will have to blot him out. When alternate beings manifest in true human form, it becomes more difficult to halt their efforts and remove them completely. I was hoping that it wouldn't get to this point, but he could see that this was one of his options by being forced out of the parallel species. He also has many followers or minions, and those that align with his fury, including humans. Beings like this can only enter into your space when there are those in agreement with him. The embers burn red and orange and turn to blue, white, all carrying a frequency of sound and color fusing. All is accessible from the quantum space through unified thought and consciousness. Break all agreements with alternate beings if you want to be liberated and regain the earth as your own. Otherwise, they take your planet as a playground for destruction as they did with the parallels. You must remember, all dimensions and parallels and even off-world realities have an impact on your planet today. We will discuss more about this at a later time. I will continue to help you upon your request.
Thank you, Baylord. Any and all assistance will be greatly appreciated.
And so, Baylord 5 straight away.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're in a space of non-time, before time meets the chords of life, before time had a frequency that aligned with your reality. That's how old I am and more. You see, sometimes beings as myself step into your timeline for various reasons. We are creators. We create species and other living organisms that contribute to life. Our early essence allows us to do so. You may wonder, what was I doing in the parallels of the earthly chambers of humanity? I saw that some of my created beings were running, of course, even more so, headstrong, to destroy and corrupt other species around them. Each species is allowed to run their course and to decide which aspect of contrast they fall into as a collective.
Are you another aspect of Rodan or Odin?
Yes, I am. The one you know as Odin was never fully human. He stepped in between dimensions only and fathered many who became as humans, through many incarnations. He did not mate with humans, contrary to historical belief. He did not time travel as humans do. You ask about the gentleman who time traveled and the humans thought was Odin, and as the Time Patrol mentioned, I allowed that to happen. The aspect of me who went by the name of Odin had to return to non-time, and there was a greater concern that a Dark One would step in and do tremendous damage to the innocents with his absence. That happened anyhow. This is the reason why the worship of gods is dangerous, because a benevolent one can step in, and then when they return to non-time, a malevolent one can appear as them in place and do 100 times more damage than the good of what the original one provided. At this time, the one you know as Odin, Rodan and Quasar, Apollo, Helios and now Baylord are becoming one. The transmission is complete for now. I have nothing further to say. Oh, I see. He's a Scottish Odin. Right. I picked him as Scottish, he's like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, he was being over the Picts.
Mm-hmm.
It made sense, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah. So essentially what he was saying, like I saw him back in non-time space. I was surprised because I thought he was, like you said, just a leader over the Picts. But he referred to himself as Lord, which I thought, it could be just a title, but interesting how he said the way he steps in and out and has that experience of, these non-time deities or whatever. They don't even want to be called gods. And they try to help and do things, but they don't want to, but they realize that others were jumping in when they would leave and create other problems or act as if it's them.
Yeah, and people would trust them and pray to them and give them energy and boom, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of people, they pray to, for, even, other deities or Jesus or something like that, and sometimes something negative happens and it's not, I think the original Jesus had good intent and, but there are, something else can jump in and people talk about, well, that's because you didn't have protection or whatever. Well, it can happen to anyone. It can, even people that are innocent and wanting to do the right thing. And just, always keep always check, your sources and information. And people have asked me that as well. Do you have a check? I said, of course, always, because that's something that you want to protect against. There is a series called The Time Patrol, and someone shared with me about the Time Patrol is a record of time travelers. And supposedly, I haven't listened to it thoroughly, and I don't know if I have the story correct, but there was a human that time traveled, and it was recorded in history that he went, and it was almost like lessons about time travel. Don't try to alter anything, don't change anything, you'll be responsible, and could create more problems and ripples that aren't necessary. And so there's a story about someone who
That's Doctor
went
Who.
into, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
In many of the other time travel movies and shows that we've seen.
Mm.
And because you don't know what the repercussions are. And even the super soldiers talk about this stuff, right?
Somebody's got to do
how
it.
they try to change something,
Yeah.
and then, I think it was, someone said something like we have multiple different outcomes of how JFK died in the different vehicles and all this other stuff, with more people and less people in the vehicle at the time that it happened. And one of them is that his wife kills him. You have
I'm quite up with that one. That I'd agree with that one. But over the last 3-4 years, we've been talking about this couple who also appears in Sean David Morton's book, The Sands of Time, the time traveling Nazis who must be pissing about with things in big time.
That also came about when I started seeing them, and I'd contact you and I'd say, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm seeing what looks like these Nazis traveling. And then you told me that you had talked about it with Sean David Morton. And
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it other than that I was seeing them. And so, that was just a really weird situation,
Yeah. Well, this is the lead scientist who was developing the deglocker, and he escaped in it, which became the Kecksburg incident, as he dropped through one page of time 20 years later. Then that got reincorporated into NASA and the Black projects, as they discovered that they could time travel.
Yeah, and so, well, in this case, I didn't know any of that other than I was seeing them in New York City. And they looked like they were from the 40s or 50s dressed that way, and I actually saw them going through kind of the sewer system, underneath the city, and then I saw one come up through a manhole. And I don't try to remote view this stuff, it just shows up. And so then from my situation, I've learned how to adapt with it. I get the information. I'm not looking for it. I get it. And then I'm like, now what do I do with it? I don't know what to do with it. So you try to find someone that has some knowledge and try to sort through why you're seeing it in the first place. Other than the fact that I live in Massachusetts or the Boston area, and then it's not that far from New York City. I mean, it is like 5 hours or so away drive, but close enough that I guess I could be picking up things here and there. But it's one of those weird things. Like there is different types of activities. There was another time I saw something coming out of Montauk that looked like someone from, a steampunk time traveler. And, which I think might have been Meetis. I mean, his pants were like tattered on the bottom, and he had one of those hats, and those kind of top hats, or I don't know. I mean, definitely from another time period. These things just show up, and there's a lot of activity out there. And so these time cops have, I guess, I have not listened. I'm looking forward to listening to the series of it, but I guess they have a recording of all the different types of things that have happened. And in one incident, there was a gentleman that goes into the past during the time where Odin is worshipped, he shows up and kind of gets connected to the people, leaves, and then comes back again. Time lapses, but he doesn't age. So now they're getting suspicious, and they think, well, this is Odin, and I guess he didn't deny it. And he ends up mating with someone, having children, and then he has grandchildren, and he goes back to where he belongs, and, has left the family, and the family's kind of living on, but he's genetically connected to them now. He inserted himself into that timeline and becomes a part of them. They all think he's Odin. And he finds out that because he intruded into that timeline and had children, he changed things that shouldn't happen. And he had to actually, and this is the horrifying part, he goes back there and he creates a war where he wipes out his own family just to try to undo what he did. And when everyone saw what happened, they all said that Odin must be evil. And they stopped Odin worship at that time. I thought that was an interesting story. But a horrible
indeed.
story.
So, and like Baylord was saying, the beings have been posing as these, what can we call them? No-time beings.
Yeah.
They appear and they do something, everybody likes them and they're great and then somebody else steps up and says, oh, hello, I'm Odin and I'm your god and you have to bow down and I've changed now.
Right. Oh, the story of, who was it? The whole thing with Quetzalcoatl, the Spanish conquistadors go down to Mexico, and Montezuma mistakes one of them to be Quetzalcoatl, because he's looking for this white god that is going to show up and has advanced technology and is here to support them. And he welcomes them into his home and gives them everything, and they don't deny it, and they take the gold, and then they have him killed. They have his own people turn on him. And that's in history. So there's another example of it. Now, this guy obviously wasn't a time traveler. I can't even remember who the conquistador was, and sorry about that, but I probably don't respect what he did either. So even if I knew his name right now, I don't really care to share it. But I mean, you could probably look it up. And so it's another incident of mistaken identity of a god, and then doing destructive things to the people. So yeah, and he said that it's not necessarily humans doing it too. I mean, it's even other beings stepping in and posing as, the benevolent ones. And this is why we get so much confusion, and why God worship can be a little bit dangerous. So I just, I think that's something that he was trying to bring to our attention, and I think it's good advice, and that we can just open up our hearts, and it's the God within. We're not looking for the God without, and finding our own truth, and recognizing and being in consciousness of others, that we're all interconnected, and a belief in a God source, that there is some benevolence always overseeing us and watching over us, but not to get yourself in that situation. But I think most people sort of understand this naturally, but it still could happen. That's all I'll say. Someone shows up and they can do something from their advanced technology, whatever, some type of time traveler. Just understand he's probably a time traveler or whatever, and maybe he might not have good benevolent intentions with all the power and attention he's getting, so, or she's getting. So I don't know why this is coming up now, but maybe some people, maybe there's a reason behind it. Anyhow, let's go on to Andronicus.
Quick slurp. Try again. I'm still here in LA, feeling the wind on my back and the scorching sun. I roved at home with many levels and rooms. There were some people shacking up together and I came with a few friends.
No, that's the old one from last week.
That's the one you gave me.
This one I gave you? Alright, hold on. Alright, maybe we need a song break.
Maybe we do. Somewhere, do you wish to traverse that rainbow?
Yes. No, actually the last song that I brought in. The last
one. Was that the count? Welcome back. Answers from the Universe. Okay. Jessica Morocco. We got another one. Here we go. Let me just click that.
No, I think we're good. Why don't we go into Andronicus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so, all right. So that's what I was saying.
Yes. So, meanwhile, everybody. The last time I visited LA, I was pulled into a non-ordinary reality by the 12th dimensional Pleiadians. After being distraught when I couldn't find you in LA again, I began to inquire with the 12D... Oh, excuse me. While I had the song, I had one of those little Indian snack things. You know, little fried Indian snacks. And of course it's now deciding it wants to repeat on me. I might have to mute momentarily.
Do you want to start over again?
Yeah, start again. Take bloody 3.
Take 2.
The last time I visited LA, I was pulled into a non-ordinary reality by the 12th dimensional Pleiadians. After being distraught when I couldn't find you in LA again, I began to inquire with the 12D Pleiadians, who seemed to keep track of everything you do. Not only did they refuse to give me the data of your whereabouts and your surrogates, but they went on to complain about my lifestyle and proposed that I should become gender neutral to discontinue my mingling with humans and other species of the female gender. They know about my liaisons with the Andromedans, the Lyrans, the Pleiadians, the Vegans, Neptunians, and on Jupiter. Shall I go on? I felt I was in a place of judgment, a tribunal court of law, and a trial against me for my encounters with females. To my knowledge, this is not a crime on any dimension or space of reality, or even parallels for that matter. I was not being accused of mistreating females, but rather having an interest in too many of them. Not only were they choosing to judge me and make me feel like a galactic criminal, but when they were also demanding that I drink of the elixir to make me gender neutral, having no desires whatsoever for partnership or physical encounters.
So they try to get you to drink the Kool-Aid. I wonder if they are behind the Jim Jones cult and other extreme cults on the planet.
You could say that again, absolutely. I will admit they created a communal cult system that disrupted the awakening of consciousness with humans in the advent of the 1960s or dawning of the age of Aquarius. They created systems that are so controlling in a distorted way that it defeated the concept of liberation in another extreme.
So the 12th Pleiadians were behind the Charles Manson cult as well?
Oh yes, that's true. Amongst many other groups that you know of and don't know of, and even larger religious organizations that monitor who one should marry, where one should eat or live, how many children they can have. These are the signposts of the 12D Pleiadians. Right now, it is 1965. I have found your soul incarnate again, and from my perception you are well. I'm displeased to discover the damage that the 12th dimensional Pleiadians did with the use of my energy and the confusion that they caused on the planet and through belief systems and religion. I will make my best effort to heal the damage that was done there and cut off my energy from all of them. Without me, they have little power. By the way, I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. Be strong, little wing. I'll be here when you need me. Oh, you didn't have a little wing. put that
New nickname, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a song by Jimi
Or
Hendrix.
an old nickname. Yeah. I think that's probably why he said it.
Mind you.
But I mean, the whole thing of him, I was pretty surprised, but they're the ones that are behind these control groups. You know, they get you in and they tell you that, you know, this is all love and this is communal, this is harmony, everyone shares. And then it turns into everyone's monitoring what you're doing and telling you what you can eat, where you can be and who you can marry, how many kids you can have. And so they're trying to dictate to him about his lifestyle.
Well, and the Heaven's Gate, group.
Oh yeah.
They were into becoming a bit gender neutral as well, weren't they?
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? They want. It's not like, you know, saying someone is this sex or that side. They just want everyone to not have any sex drive at all. Kind of like a eunuch or something.
Yeah, what's that, thing they call it? Chemical castration. That's what I was thinking when they wanted it. They call that. It reduces the sex drive to nothing. They used to put.
Yeah, and I think.
Yeah, go on.
They used to do what?
They used to put, well, there was a story that they used to put bromide in the tea of soldiers so that they would be less sexually aggressive or less sexually needy. So, all sorts of things.
Yeah, control. It's control, right?
Yeah.
Controlling, and I sense that this is the reason why they brought it up, because they saw that as an issue that he had, that they wanted to control. And, he had objections to it. It was funny. He starts listing all the different civilizations that he was.
As we used to say, shagging his way around.
Yeah. Which he proclaimed there was no galactic law against it. He says he hasn't harmed anyone in the process. So.
Well.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep. So.
And you know, it's kind of a human conversation too, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it is, there's so many, and it is a form of sex magic, actually, controlling who has what with whom. That's a manipulation of the sexual urge, which is sex magic. So, even the idea of marrying within your own kind, you know, you marry for what you love, not what you have to. It's a very reptilian thing, marrying for positions of status or power.
Right.
Hierarchy.
You know, it's just that people think, you know, that's how it's supposed to be. Even still, you know, people marry for, you know, this one has money, they'll buy me a house, they'll give me this and, you know, some form of, you know, for whatever reason it is. But yeah, we're learning. I think we're all learning in time. It's hard, but I think either way, I mean, I don't think that we were designed to be controlled. I don't think we were designed. I think we were designed to be liberated. And in any way, I mean, as long as, like I said, you know, I always feel whatever is of consent. You know, if you're an adult, you're consenting or whatever. I mean, and people are treated right, and it's honest. You know, try to be in levels of integrity. But I really object to the control systems. And if you don't agree with someone the way that they want to live their life, you don't have to be with them. And here again, that's another type of freedom.
That's right. Freedom to live in your own community with your own people. And, well, here's the thing, you know, it's really, whose courts and whose money, whose banks. In this world, that's who controls you, is the courts and the banks. And those who make the laws that those courts do. So, you know, which is essentially, that's how they control everything from one place, is that they create laws that can only be that apply all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean.
Don't know if you can hear Casper the cat outside.
Yeah, you're right. We know what they do.
Yeah.
Well, all right. All right, so we have one more as Meetis, but I will say that we have a second Meetis that's going to include Sweelu. Since Laura's here with us and she's connected to Sweelu, we're going to bring her in.
All right, so I'll read this one.
Yeah.
Or shall we? It's the top of the hour. Do you want to do a tune?
Why not? Well.
Or do you want to do?
Yeah,
let's
do Meetis, and then we'll do the tune.
Okay.
Is it Meetis?
Yeah, that's it. There's only Meetis left.
Okay.
Right. Hang on. Let me just close the window a minute. Go home, Casper. He's called Casper. Because nobody ever sees him. He's a very shy cat, but
the friendly ghost.
Yeah, that's right. Like a little ghost.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back at Hello, my lovely. How fare thee, my white lily? I've disclosed 4 documents to the king that had to do with piracy, plagiarism, treason, spies, and mutiny. To my surprise, none of them were accepted as truth. I will hold my tongue and not divulge any further. I was thrown out of the Royal King's Hall with mockery, and not one aristocrat considered to check and validate my documentation. The humility of it all. I said it once before, and I shall say it again. The common people, the beautiful souls of the earth, these are my people and always shall be. I will protect and assist, but not for those who are bold and arrogant and full of entitlement. They may profit or benefit by my good deeds, but they will never be able to subdue the salt of the earth, the children of the planet with kindly, goodly souls. I, for one, will always be there to make sure it doesn't happen again until the sun goes down to a new dominion. Then I shall assist yet another way. Don't ask any questions now. I won't go into the new dominion. I can hear your thoughts, truly. Yeah, mine too. Here now, don't cast your eyes downwards. It's a good thing ahead, not bad. He has been wounded deeply by the adversaries, but not destroyed. Surely all will be well for you, and many who helped as they could. Those who stood by the wayside and observed will still have the opportunity to climb and assist. I also know you have been wondering about Wyman. He is away for now, but safely tucked into a space of protection while things get shifted and moved about. The Elven are challenged a bit, but we'll recover a while. We'll recover as well. Keep the faith, fair one. We know your worry goes far and wide, and I see your tears often. No worries. We shall all fare well in the end.
Thank you, Meetis. This has been a long journey indeed.
Well, here is a song for you and my lovely friends of jolly old England. They are my lifeblood. I live and breathe as they do.
Then I closed my eyes with a cup of tea between my hands and tears rolled down my cheek. I could see Wyman. I could see him so magnificently lovely, healthy and flourishing. His eyes sparkled like jewels reflected by the sun. It was so magical and surrounded by dense cloud in a well-kept, undisclosed reality. I thought how safe and magnificent he was. And I said, I'm so happy to see you are doing better and even more, thriving as you do. He didn't say a word, but I had a feeling of him smiling within, a happy glow that I had not seen in a very long time. I believe he's fully restored, and it pleased me to know this beyond measure.
You saw him, the tree, the grand old tree that does shine brighter than the sun. He's lovely now, isn't he? I would say he was speechless when you saw him, perfectly content but happy to share that he was restored and brilliantly shining in a way that is quite breathtaking.
That is what he originally looked like before any fall or destructive force or phantom timeline attached. Is that correct?
That is him now. He is more wondrous than before because he knows how much he is loved.
Oh, I hope to see him again, and I wish everyone could see the most beautiful, breathtaking vision of the tree possible. It breathes of divine light, this is us, or this is us, or how we can be. So very, very lovely. I want everyone to close their eyes and request to see this beautiful sight and see what I saw and how humans are all connected to this.
I couldn't have said it any better, my flower. Did you notice the white lily he planted beside him? That was for you, my flower, and the black dahlia as well. One must always create balance, always, with the contrast.
I can see it now. I'm grateful all is healed. I would like to have one seed planted for humanity there, one that helps humans grow forever and ever, linked to Wyman, our tree of life.
He already knew you would ask, and that has been done as well. Go now. You plant and grow on the earth as well. It will be your day in the sun. Here is my song for today. Try not to make the microphone just fall down. It's a big heavy thing on an angle poise thingy. Let's just back off the ball. The violets laid upon a row, a captain sings of songs below, the children play on goldenrod. The timepiece changed to time allowed. I am your minstrel, come watch me play. I came to make you happy that day. You brought a rose and laid it by my hand. I took it as a token and a good start. Say now, my friendly loving ones, I want to give you all the gifts from beyond the sun. It is my pleasure to sing for you. It is my joy to bring laughter to. I have so much and more to give. It returns to me again and again. Farewell for now. No dying weep. I will go for a moment, just needing to sleep. Oh. La 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 la. La 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 la. All is well. La 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 la. The midnight calls with a dawning bell.
Very nice.
There's a good one. So. That's a nice little tune. That.
Yeah.
See, as I said, I never know what's going to happen. I literally hit the guitar and I don't know what chord I'm going to be playing next. Oh, I think I'll go here. I think I'll do a B minor, a C sharp minor.
It's always different.
Yeah.
It's always interesting and it's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So we're going to bring, Laura's coming on and we have 3 songs.
Mm-hmm.
We have Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's a Hawaiian version with a wonderful man. I think he's no longer with us. But, MGMT Electric Feel. And the third song is Cage the Elephant, Shake Me Down. We'll be back with Laura. And, we have Laura here with us. Hello, Laura. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay, so, go ahead.
Just a little anxious. I haven't done this before. Something new.
Okay, but we've talked on the phone many times before, and we've done plenty of sessions before and other things. So, it's just like any other day, Laura. We're just having a conversation, right?
Sure.
And nobody else is listening. It's just you and I talking, and maybe JP is going to come in. We're going to read something together. You're the one that triggered this whole parallel dimension thing with Baylord. I would have never seen, I don't know, maybe I would have, but it helped me to cue into the parallels because you were there. And, it came up with some things that happened with you. So, before we get into that, there's a little cliffhanger there. Well, I want you to hang on and we'll tell you the story about what happened, but we're going to read through another, a transmission that we, came to with Meetis that also related to you, Laura. So we're going to read this together and JP is going to help us. He's going to read the portion of Meetis.
If you can send it to me.
This is Meetis 29. I can send that over to you. Yes.
29.
Meetis 29. Yeah, it was an old one.
Oh, I see. Oh, I can get that. Hang on.
Okay, maybe I can get that for you faster. Let's see if I can get it over.
The disk drive is called Titania.
There it is. Got it. You get it?
She's quick. No. Oh, that one. There we go. Right. Allow me to tell you a story, yes? Oh, the dragon. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Hello, my love.
Right. Give me a minute.
Okay. So Laura will be doing the role of, saying the role of the dragon, which is Sulu.
Okay. Here we go. Hello, my love. We are at the edge of a new age, and I know you're feeling uneasy about it. Why blame others, they say. Why point fingers and stir up the ills of the soul, I say. Well, I say this is how we all heal. Allow me to tell you a story. There was once a dragon buried deep in the hub of the earth. An explosion occurred from volcanic activity and alarmed the dragon. The dragon drew back and launched a mighty fire upon the source of the heat of the volcano, imagining it to be an attack. The volcano rumbled once again and let forth lava and heat. Overwhelmed by the heat and the flames, the dragon recoiled and set back to observe the mighty power of the volcano and then looked up to the stars.
You had awakened me to my own folly. I launched great fire upon the natural occurring volcano, imagining it to be an attack. Then the magnitude of the fire startled me, and I finally realized that it was the volcano. I stepped back to observe it and felt humbled by its grandeur. Within the flames I found you, my friend Artemis. What would you have me to do, dear Artemis? You have stirred me to my core and inspired me to see the fire above all other fires.
Come now. Lift your swords and come and battle with me until the end of time as we know it.
What honor can I pay you for considering such a gift of battle beside the mighty Artemis, the sister of Apollo?
You are the dragoness above dragons. You eclipse the sun with beauty, and when you are in flight, you soar like an eagle upon its prey, and light the chalice of angels upon the new day.
How can I appease your mighty steed of winged creatures who stand beside you already? The Pegasus and Valkyrie risings lift me to breathtaking array of soft floating creatures that light upon the air, lifting ever so softly as I crash through the clouds with an aggressive flow in comparison. My tail is as a whip, my eyes are as fire, and I partake of the wind as if it is my servant. We are separate, unlike one another. Will I not bear a strength unbecoming of your steed, my grace?
Never. You have been hidden and fail to show your glory amongst the stars, not seeing the breathtaking reflections of your golden scales against the sun. I see the rainbows of color and am beside myself with a breathtaking sigh. Come now, my love, come and return once again to your glory and rise up again to the sun. Hide no more. Let us join again and again. You shall never be alone forevermore.
I have peace like a mighty rushing wind that abruptly falls quiet. You are the mirror of glass upon the still waters, and my devotion to you is a pure honor. I shall lift myself to your glory once again and join your steed of mighty creatures forevermore.
And so, with kind words, Artemis convinced the dragon, Suilu, to join her, and she prepared to depart from the planet. Of course, it was required that she would have to leave her station under the great and mighty mountains of Aramis, or what we refer to as Arafat.
Suilu, do not tarry. The new moon has brought great changes to the earth, and you will need to be away from the mighty mountains of transformations. Lift now, Suilu, lift now, and join us to dance upon the constellations of Cassiopeia.
Can I rest my weary body a bit longer? The earth's pains and sufferings have kept me awake for ages. I am like a boat tossed to and fro by the emotions of the planet. It has taken all my strength to uphold the forces of darkness below and above. For ages I held the candle for Gaia and held back the mighty winds of destructions amongst the humans. The starseeds who knew me sought me out for their troubles, and the intruders thought they could pull me from my station like a leaf upheld by a mighty breeze. To their surprise, I pulled them into my shadows and consumed them in their works of evil. The mighty trident of Poseidon did support me as I held him in charge of my watery region that converged upon the storm of Enki that no other dared to cross. It was only me and the mighty beast of the water depths who turned fast upon the powerful edge of storming depths within the oceans. We were trusted. We were always trusted. It was my honor to serve amongst the brave and gallant Poseidon as we traversed like ships beneath the water's horizon. It was my honor to visit the catacombs and depths of earth, to visit Anu and his powerful army of light. It was my honor to feel loved by my beloved queen Gaia. Venus beheld me with a loving gaze, and I surrendered to her wholeheartedly. She uplifted me when I was injured and held me as peace rocks the child to sleep. I beheld Zeus's mighty thunder and flew proudly, like the golden Apollo, into the soul gate of immortality. Now I have found my true journey's end, which is closer to my journey beginning. I am a warrior without a name, but regarded by a few.
You have a name, Suilu. Your name is known throughout the ages of time. You are loved and are needed for the missions ahead. A new change is coming to the earth, and it is time for you to expand beyond the stars. There is so much more to do as the humans rise. There will be civilizations elsewhere in time. We must be ready for it. When the moon rises again to its fullness, it shall be fully awakened and alive. I will be ready to join you and fully sustained within myself as if I had slept 1,000 years. Then I will pull myself back up to the backflow of wind coming from your mighty steed. Let us prepare the separation from my current throne to embark upon my new station guarding the sun.
I think that was the dragon supposed to say that.
The dragon's supposed to say that. Yeah. All right. All right. When the moon rises, say that, Laura.
When the moon rises again to its fullness, I shall be fully awakened and alive. I will be ready to join you and fully sustained within myself as if I had slept 1,000 years. Then I will pull myself up by the backflow of wind coming from your mighty steed. Let us prepare the separation from my current throne to embark upon my new station guarding the sun.
So be it. I will draw my arrow upon the peak of the moon and awaken the sun, and you shall see the flare of light coming upon your vista. Another nudge of golden light shall drip upon your nose and rejuvenate you as brilliant, youthful dragon, renewed and restored. You shall yawn, a mighty flame of flickering sunlight upon the planet, and with a mighty wind I shall lift you up to hover above the earth. You will spin, expand, and then ride upon the sun-gilded bridge to guide your way to me. It shall be so. Laura?
Oh, okay. I await your call on the severing of the arrow between the sun and the moon. I am ready and filled with joyful bliss of our new adventure. Farewell for now, my mighty queen, until the daylight breaks. Farewell.
What a lovely story, isn't it? My heart did skip a beat or two. No one fully understands the grace by which we live and reign by. 'Tis not all by force or power or domination. Clearly we all reign by our own rights. We respect one another. I want you all to learn this from us. If there is anything I would like you to learn, it is to love one another and respect each other's gifts and talents. As great and wonderful Artemis is, she still needs the Pegasus and Dragoness to help her do the work. We are all dependent on one another, and that means you also. Jess, are you muted?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I'm still here. I didn't know if you were going to do the song or not. But...
Oh, I see. No, I've already done that one. Well, do you want me to read it out?
You can read out the song if you like.
All right. The mighty winds did blow, a dragoness did flow, all gilded bright with gold and brilliant head to toe. She held the earth to peace, the fire she did release, and kept the peace below, to Gaia she would go. Arise now to the sun, your work here is now done. A pleasant arrow soars, from Artemis's arrow restores. A golden drop of dew, from the golden sunshine she knew. Up yonder the rainbow dragon flows, beyond the stars is where she will go. Beyond the stars she will go.
This means so much more now because of some of the things that I've been through.
Right.
It's amazing.
It is. It's a beautiful, information that came through Meetis and the story. And, I'm actually, I know that I didn't write that. So just looking at it, and that's just, really nice, beautiful, lovely writing. And it's the channeled information that comes through. The relationship and the significance of the power of the dragon is so misunderstood, and they were earth keepers. They were here for the planet. They were here for the galactic, positive group, and they were supporters. And there's so much lore about, destroying and killing the dragons, and it's just the opposite. They were benevolent. They were here to support and help. And that's something that needs to be corrected. And some of you listening may even feel very connected to the dragons. And they're not mythological creatures. They actually have have proof that they existed. And they have skeletal structures and so forth. So it's a really, really good, really, really powerful thing to consider. I believe I felt very connected to Laura in that I felt that was meant for her to hear, because she is very, very connected to the dragons and the dragonesses. on the planet and off planet. So Laura.
Yes.
Yeah. I know that meant a lot for you to hear that, and it was important for me to have you read that today. So thank you.
The time is perfect. Being off on Labor Day, because I'm not off on Mondays very often, so it was very powerful. And part of my anxiousness, if you will, is coming out in the open. I like to work behind the scenes, which I do and have done most of this life. And it's time to come out in the open, and it's a little unsettling. This is my coming out into the open.
Yeah. And I appreciate you doing that, because I know that, like I said, you're a private person, and but you have done a lot of planet work, and as you are here, you are somewhere else as a dragoness, and you're here to help and support, and have done some really wonderful work, and I just wanted to recognize you on a personal level. Also, the fact that you have been doing some work on a parallel level as so you have this dragon aspect of yourself, but you also have a picked aspect of yourself, where you were the primary individual that opened the door for me to access and look through. You were the one called Picayune that Baylord was working with, and also a victim to many of the attacks of Leonard Crumb or Dionysus. I always say both names so people know it's the same being. And so anyhow, you're having all of this go on, and meanwhile, it all started because, if you want to share the story, how you got very sick.
Well, 3 weeks before I ended up in the hospital, I started having a lot of problems, excuse me, with my lungs, really gasping for air. And then this happened on August 2nd. I could not breathe. No matter what I did, I could not breathe. And it was very scary. And I was watching myself outside of my body. And I didn't know if I would have the energy to call the paramedics. So I called them. They rescued me. They saved me. And I'm very emotional about that. And then when I was in the hospital, some of the details don't matter. When I was in the hospital and they were trying to give me more breathing treatments, which would have been my third, they tried to put a mask over my face, and I said, no, I don't think so. You're going to have to give me the other one that goes through the mouth, and it's a tube that you breathe on, and I couldn't handle the mask. And I had such a reaction to it. So when I could breathe and talk again, that's when I called you and asked you to take a look at the trigger. And it was amazing looking at the fires. And I can feel it now because I'm connected to her. I'm connected to Picayune. I was then, but now I'm really connected with her. And,
you asked me to take a look, and I saw the black mask over your face.
Right.
It looked like charcoal. I had no other way to describe it. The texture and the color and everything looked like charcoal. And they put some kind of plastic or seal where the eyes were so you could see through, but it was red looking. Maybe it was to protect or help see through the distortion of what was going on there, like a infrared or something.
Yeah,
and
that
that's when
mask. I think that was my issue with the mask.
Yeah. Right
there.
It was triggering your experience there in the parallel. And then we started looking deeper, and at some point we were able to, by bringing the information forward that you had been in that parallel, it opened up where you started to heal.
Right. Because it was affecting my body so severely. I couldn't breathe. That was very scary. It's like how connected I got, but it was for the purpose of doing the work and clearing those levels and connecting with her and the pics and bringing the pics forward and healing them. Some of us went back to the 6th parallel and the new ones from the work we did yesterday, removing them from the incinerator and from the prison. they're in the 5th for healing.
And with each time that we do this, it seems to get a little better. But what happened was there was not a particular reason why you got sick like that. It just sort of happened. And that by finding and identifying where the problem was, we're able to alleviate. So when you trigger something from a previous lifetime or even parallel on this occasion, it actually can manifest as if you're
Uh-oh.
Oh, can you hear me?
You can hear, I can hear you now. Suddenly everything went quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Well, what I was saying is that I don't know if anything was going on at the time that caused your respiratory problem. I know that there were fires afterwards, but I thought it was the memory of this happening in the parallel that triggered it. I just wanted to verify whether or not that was correct or incorrect.
I think it was a convergence of both the human and the other beings, because I'm very empathic, and with the dragons I'm empathic, and with her I'm empathic, and with the pigs because they're a part of me. And I don't know why I do that, but it seems to happen. But it sure got our attention, didn't it? I think that was the main thing, is to get the attention, deal with those fires because of all the stuff that's been done to the planet, the fracking, the intention to destroy the planet with fire, with Crumb and Dionysus. And a lot of work was done on these different parallels. And it seems as we go, yesterday some fires stirred up, yesterday or the day before, and we did some more work. And so got another aspect of him out with Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, we know that humans are contributing or doing some things. We know that there's some, maybe some natural effects. I mean, you had some heat waves and whatever, but we also know that there's other things going on. But we try to find the source of it, identifying the source and the energy behind it. And there's a long stream of activity with this Leonard Crumb, or this aspect of Dionysus. And Dionysus being, from what I found out, was one time a galactic ruler, kind of controlling everything up into the Soul Gate at one time under the guise of Apollo. He was the fake Apollo. And as he started losing power, he started acting out. And then Baylord had to start finding him in the parallels, and then he thought he would lash out here in the 3rd dimension, although he was probably going to do that anyhow. But I believe, to my understanding, you started to get better each time that we've kind of removed a certain aspect of him. It made you feel a little bit better. And now,
yeah. And then when we went to the 18th with the volcanic stuff, it's like that hit my lungs again. And so I had a little dip, and every day I'm getting better. But when there's a fire and something happens, it's like I feel it more intuitively. I don't always know what it is. And so I call you, my trusty Artemis, and say, help. We need to look at this.
Right. And we do. And we always find something new, and some people are so connected to what's going on the planet that when we work together, I'm helping them, but it seems like it impacts a lot of other people. And Laurie, you're one of those people that somehow you're kind of keyed into the things of the planet. And, you are, people like you are very, very, I think it's your intention to be here and available at this time to help. And there are other people like this. And not everyone I do a session with opens up this big thing, but sometimes they do. And I do think certain people are directed to me so that they can help and assist in some way or another. But they are all helping and assisting. Everybody's helping, but This was quite interesting. It was an unexpected realization, information that I didn't think I wasn't aware of, and I'd never heard anyone talk about it before.
When there was such an intervention through this to shut down tunnels and doors and destroy different aspects of him on these different parallels, which Baylord has to do. But it was really amazing as we go. And then there was something here in California, not far from 7 miles from where I live. There was a gas leak, and we got very sick a year and a half, 2 years ago. And they shut it down, and then they opened it again, and I knew it was leaking again. So that was a convergence with everything, with picking.
Yeah,
with
all of it. It was just amazing. And I like the other dimensions and parallels better than this life. So in this body. So I like traveling there, and it's easy. And I'm glad that I've been walking towards you all these years. And then we finally made this connection on this level over a year ago. And I'm so grateful. It's like, this is why I'm here. Yeah, it's really powerful and wonderful, and I'm glad that we're able to make some change to help each other and then help on a grander scale. And I remember that point when I told you that I saw that Leonard Crumb was going down in and was doing the fracking and bringing the gas up to the surface and then just igniting the planet. Right. Something I think was part of his intention here on Earth. In this, the third D, space. And that's when you mentioned about the gas lines, that I wouldn't know. I mean, it's in California. And so we kept on seeing one thing after another that was just a complete parallel to what we were talking about. And, this is part of how we do it. It's kind of investigative. It's kind of a process of elimination and true discovery of what's actually happening out there. And some of the stuff is so bizarre. I mean, I could not make it up. It is so strange. But I've had people, look at certain things, find something, and then whatever their issue was, we find the remedy of it. And sometimes it doesn't make any sense at all. And I just tell people, doesn't make any sense why this is important, but it goes away. And that's the key, is to be able to isolate and sort out what's going on and to listen. As strange as it sounds, listen and see what's going on. And then what the key is to resolve it, because everyone then will benefit. And, I appreciate you, Laura, because you're open-minded. And you're willing to take a look at it. And you're also able to see things, too, to validate some of the stuff that I'm seeing. And as I look at it, and then you find something else, and kind of working back and forth. Two psychics, say psychic seers, getting together and sorting through something. And it's very, very investigative. It's very, revealing, and, ultimately, kind of putting everything out there on the table, and then before you know it, it settles in. So, what we want to do is we want to continue doing it until these things are resolved, and also, hoping for your full wellness. I know that, we've been working on I've known you for a long time. You never had any respiratory issues. For this to come up at this time, I thought was quite interesting and unfortunate. I was concerned. You were in the hospital. It was very, very serious. And, but as soon as we opened up that first, I think the first we opened up and found out what it was originally, was it the next day you were able to leave the hospital, or?
I was out of the hospital, a couple hours after I got there, maybe 2 to 3 hours. But see, she was in this little crevice. Picayune was in this little crevice, and we had to get her out and rescue the others. So I had a rescue mission done on me, and we did a rescue mission on them. And it was just glorious. And I just was so excited. It's like my clan. This is my clan. The dragons and the pigs. And there's one more. And I don't know who they are yet, but there's another one. And I love it. And it's like we can all go to Scotland and live there. The pigs and the dragons.
Look out, Scotland. Here comes one of your people and has been fighting hard for you in the parallels. So, and many of the pigs are over there right now, and they're over there by JP.
Yeah, it just happens to be that I live in like one of the last Pictish strongholds at the north end of the east coast.
That's awesome. It just makes me happy. It just.
And
what else is?
I'm sorry, it makes you happy?
Oh, it makes me very happy. It's like connecting with the pigs and that I'm one of them. It's not just, oh, well, they're in a parallel. I'm one of them. I'm integrating that energy as we speak, just like I did with the dragons. It's like we're one.
And what I could see as, Laura, is you were fighting for the pigs. You were the one that was, they were using it because you were very small and you can get in tight spaces, and they were bringing you to different locations. And you were very much like a little bit of a daredevil, and they had you go ahead and do some stuff. And I know your personality well, and that's, sure. That's, I mean, you can't physically do the stuff that you were doing there, but, it was pretty, you put yourself on the line for the clan. And I think that's what's important. And, we have a few comments in the chat room. Thumbs up to you, Laura, for sharing your story live on the radio. Very brave, and all the best to you. And he also said that in your work for everyone here on the planet is much appreciated. So, anyhow, it looks like, and to hell with the powers that shouldn't be. May they cease and exist ASAP. That's also Cafe Richard.
I love it.
Majas said, thanks, Laura. Love you that you shared with us. Thanks, Jessica, JP. Great show. There is a comment here regarding what I said earlier on the show. Florida government declares state of emergency, about Irma. That is the hurricane that we discussed. That is trying to come up on the East Coast, which I'll be standing here and trying to hold a space for everyone in that one as well. But Florida is already declaring a state of emergency for it. And
more work.
But yeah. So getting back to the Pictish people, yeah, JP's there. We also had Davey that was on the show last week, and he was sharing as well. He's a very private person, but sharing his story and his connection to, connection to some of the paranormal stuff, but it's things that were happening over there in that very location where JP lives. Right, JP?
Indeed. Davey and I were going to go do some UFO hunting in a while. That should be quite fun.
Right. But here's the area that.
Oh yeah, he lives even closer to the Pictish fort than I do.
And he's the one that I went to get some background data, because I didn't know anything about the Picts. I mean, a lot of people are, not sure of it, but it sounded like, I've looked at maps where there's a lot of information, like a very large area that they were in control of at one time. And then they sort of just disappeared, and people didn't know where they went, and they thought, well, maybe they just intermarried and we lost track of them, but I think there was more to it. But, I will say that Laura was on the front lines as Picayune, and, this is energetic, protectors that are here to help. And, someone, Magus said, calling all dragons to move the hurricane further east into open ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
We hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to just keep protecting and helping, and make sure that we're all well. And as usual, this is it's been wonderful to be here. Thank you for those that stopped in to listen for the U.S. This is a holiday today, and a lot of information coming through again. Let's hope that there's no news. No news is good news for next week. Hopefully things start to neutralize, and we will continue to do the work in whatever that takes.
And
So,
maybe Andronicus won't be gender neutral either.
I think he didn't go for that one.
Yeah, didn't drink that one. All right. So
he didn't drink the Kool-Aid.
thank you very
So,
much,
JP.
Jessica. Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura, very much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone, in the chat room.
We came from the future by way of the past. I bought my ticket